Hey, Steve Mignani here doing the junkyard crawl at Bernardston Auto Wrecking in Bernardston, Massachusetts. I have to enunciate that, Bernardston. If you want to reach out, you can. But I'm standing right now in front of a 1981 GMC bus. Now today is August 19th, 2022. A week ago, on August 13th, I co-hosted Roadkill Nights with KJ Jones. That was the street race in Pontiac, Michigan, which took place on Woodward Avenue in front of the former GMC truck and coach factory, which is now the M1 Concourse. Well, buses like this were made at that very location between 1959 and 1977. In fact, 44,484 of these buses were built at that location. Now, these came out again in 1959. These were called GMC's New Look Bus, and these were the big deal in city buses. And the beauty of these things was the face, the windshield, which had sort of multi-pieces in the early ones, and finally a split two-piece window. But again, the idea was this face would give maximum visibility for the driver. In fact, even small children walking in front of the bus were visible through the lower pane. That gave these things the name the fishbowl bus. But again, 1959 through 1977, let's take a look inside. Now, one thing about these were replaced in 1978 with the RTS bus, which stood for Rapid Transit Series, not Rapid Transit System like the Plymouth muscle car era of 1970-71. But again, the RTS buses that replaced these things in 1978 didn't have these. These are stairs. Now, you and I can go up these stairs with no problem. But, you know, in the case of handicapped folks, of which a fair number of public transportation folks are handicapped, you know, with some sort of an issue, those stairs are not good. So again, this is the final version of GMC buses with stairs. Now, the other thing about these is that these were also built in Canada between 1962 and 1986. And to find out if we're looking at Canadian or a Pontiac, Michigan built bus, we look right up here. Now, that is the, it says here, manufactured by Diesel Division, General Motors of Canada Limited, March 81. So this is a Canadian-built bus, and again, they stopped building these in Pontiac in 77, but in Canada they continued for another 11 years through 86. But here's the driver's compartment down here. Steering wheel's gone, but there is the automatic transmission. This is a 3-speed, and this one, early ones actually had a manual transmission with a clutch pedal, and I hear it was non-synchro, so that must have been a bear to drive. But here's the door handle right there. It's a pneumatic system, and just kind of a cool thing. The only thing that's kind of a bummer is that Bernardston Auto Wrecking borders the Northfield Mount Herman private school. And see, I went to Bancroft School in Worcester I graduated in 1982, and we used to play the Northfield Mount Herman punks in soccer, and we'd beat them more often than not. Sometimes. But the thing is, sometimes the kids from Northfield Mount Herman come in here and they throw rocks like that right there through the windows of these buses. And right there, the owner, Dale, says he's seen them here throwing the rocks just being kids, but he doesn't dare touch them or yell at them because, you know, you go to jail for apprehending anybody without a warrant. So that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, the windshield on this thing, again, you can see those 4 panes and maximum visibility, which was a major improvement over the GMC bus that came before this, which had a much smaller windshield. Let's continue our little tour inside of this puppy. It's kind of cool. You got to wonder how many millions of people rode in this as it made its way down the city streets and highways of America. And again, this was a city bus, a route bus, not so much like a Greyhound, which is more of a inner city driving from, you know, state to state. But here are the handrails right here for people standing. And of course, there would have been seats all located throughout here. The sliding windows. And these are plexiglass. And one thing about the New Look bus from 59 up, these are actually monocoque construction. They have an aluminum skin that's stressed. And under our feet, there's no ladder frame like an old type bus. This is actually a unit construction bus, which makes them a lot lighter. And again, aluminum skin made them a lot lighter than previous steel buses. And the whole point there is when you're running, you know, millions of miles a year, running a bus fleet, fuel economy is important, and lightweight buses help to improve fuel economy. It's kind of cool to see over here. These are the stop warnings. If you need the driver to pull up at the next bus stop, you just tug on that puppy right there, and that would get the bus driver's attention. But some of the stuff we see loose in here is just miscellaneous junk. But that right there, that is the original hydraulic-driven fan, that monster thing right there. This is a hydraulic pump right there. That was once attached to the engine, and we'll get to that in just a second, because these have a really crazy story to tell about the engine. Now this one here, these ducts, are fed by the rooftop air conditioner. It's a big thing, weighs about 600 pounds, and it blows cool air into these, and then of course throughout the bus through the disbursement ducts all the way around. And yeah, I like the Formica up on the ceiling with the starburst pattern. You know, it's just kind of like a countertop, but again, industrial transportation design is very different from personal automobile design. You'll never see Formica in a pickup truck, but an industrial vehicle like this, easy cleanup, no soft upholsteries, no fabrics, just hard stuff you can hose off if there's blood or whatever on it. But one thing about that, speaking of the roof, is that sometimes there are bus accidents, and there's a mandate that you have to have escape hatches like this thing right here. Emergency, pull here, and there you are, getting out into the air. And happily, hopefully, nobody had to use that thing, but that is the roof escape hatch, which was mandated on buses after like the mid-50s or something like that. But again, the new design GMC bus, 1959, seen here for the first time. And of course, Bernard Sonata Wrecking uses a lot of these buses and vans as storage units. And we see in here like looks like maybe a 55 Chevy tailgate, upper half, and miscellaneous things in here that are kept dry. And speaking of buses, this is kind of cool. This is a 1974 Monogram Models model catalog. It says all the cool stuff inside, but the most cool bus of all was Tom Daniel's school bus right there on the bottom. And that, of course, was a school bus funny car, fictitious, never made, but has two Hemis in it. And the hood says 854 cubic inches, which is 427 cubes times 2. And of course, these things had 2 engines. But again, Tom Daniel, a legend in the world of model building. And of course, Hot Wheels, of course, also had a 1/64 scale die-cast version of the school bus. There it is right there. These are very collectible, although they have been reproduced. But when it comes to buses, there's no bus cooler than the school bus. As a kid, I couldn't pronounce it. I thought it was school bus or S-cool bus. It's school. It's a contraction, Steve, but now we know. Okay, let's go around to the back of this thing where the real interest happens. And driver, we're exiting now. Come on down out into the sunlight. And there's the air conditioner up on the top, that big monster right there. That was the thing that fed the ducts, kept the passengers cool. And here's the aluminum skin on this thing here, once again. You know, stressed construction, again, monocoque construction, as they say, which made the skin do the job of also supporting, kind of like an airplane fuselage, same idea. Pretty advanced stuff for 1959. Now here around the back is the business end. Now if you went to school in most states, you drove in what we call like a converted truck bus, you know, like the old Ford with the nose and stuff. Well, city buses like this, for maximum maneuverability, had a cab forward design, flat face kind of deal. And the motor was in the back, not up front. And the motor would have lived right inside of here. Ah, crap, I can't open this. That tree, yeah, crud. Well, if we put the camera around the side, we'll see what's going on here. And, okay, it's gone. But that big doghouse back there is where a GMC 71 series, a Detroit diesel 71 series V6 or V8 would have lived. And of course, the 71 series is a 2-stroke or 2-cycle diesel, and they have those big GMC root style blowers on the side, which actually do 2 things. They supercharge the intake charge, and they also evacuate the combustion chambers and cylinders during the exhaust stroke. And these are also kind of cool. They have a thing called an angle drive. It's not here on this one. It's been deleted or removed. But the angle drive is a thing where the engine's sort of on a canted angle for maximum accessibility for service. And in fact, the only things you can't get at from out here, if you can open this, are the inboard exhaust manifold and I believe the water pump. Aside from that, everything you need to service is right easily seen here. And again, the engine fed a 45-degree angle that then fed a conventional live solid rear axle. Now these 2-stroke GMC diesels are the darlings of the runaway diesel video makers here on YouTube. And if you want to see some really sad but fascinating diesel engines, V6s, V8s, and even V12 being blown up, just Google runaway 2-stroke diesel, and perhaps the engine that was once in here was used for a video like that, who knows. But again, these GMC 2-stroke or 2-cycle diesels have a very unique guttural sound. The only downside is they're very dirty. before the age of emission controls and concern for that kind of stuff, these things are really sooty, the two cycles, because they have a scavenging effect inside of the exhaust. The exhaust system was kind of dirty. With that said, they had a really cool guttural sound. But that's the story of the new look GMC city bus. This one here, a Canadian example, built through 1986. This one's an 81 in particular, but again, this aluminum skin does more than just cover the thing. It actually helps to keep it together. That's what they call fuselage or monocoque styling. Now, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel and come back tomorrow for another fun video here at Bernison Auto Wrecking.